Good morning, Vietnam. Welcome to 5 Minutes Tobacco. Thank you for clicking. And today on the menu, no, it's not on the menu. This is Samuel Gebis, Dr. Very. And today's video is about maybe a little backstory about why, maybe you can see it here, a little collection of, I put them there on purpose, why Bernard's is closing. There are actually two reasons for it. One is, well, it's connected to the other reason. They say they cannot afford to produce anymore. I can understand. And when in one of the last videos, I said possibly Pöschel might take over some of their snuffs. Well, it's a long story. I hope you have time. It will be possibly more than 5 minutes. So inside of the European Union, there is a tobacco directive which came into the third revision now, and starting from 2024 May, coincidentally at the same time as the closure of Bernard's, there will be a new law that all tobacco products have to be traceable. Track and trace, that's the magic word here. And track and trace here because for cigarettes it's already existing. You see there is a little code here in this little box. That's, by the way, Paramount Imperial Tobacco, one of the newer brands here in Germany. So I had to try. I had their roll your own tobacco already, and well, medium, average. And yeah, so there is this code. It means that when a tobacco manufacturer is buying tobacco, they have to give it already an identifier. Then later, when it comes into the factory and it's processed, it has to be scanned. It has to be put into a system. When it's coming out of the processing machine and it's packed into a package, it has to be with this unique code. Later it's put into the warehouse, it has to be scanned. It's put on the truck, it has to be scanned, and so on. So this track and trace has cost Pöschel 600,000 euro. Just that you get the dimensions, and Pöschel had to redesign the layout of 1,400 different packages because of these warnings, the texts, this traceability code, and so on. 1,400 packages layout had to be redesigned. Now you can imagine what kind of impact it has on a smaller manufacturer, like for example Bernard's. They can simply not afford to do it. And that's maybe another reason why recently many tobacco companies merge brands into a new brand or an existing brand. For example, L&M and Chesterfield. Here in Germany, at least, it's the same thing. They have put the one brand into the other, and so they save basically these operation costs and also marketing, etc. And another company, by the way, pipe smokers might know, Planta, has closed. Yeah. Because they were relying mostly on these customized tobaccos for other brands. And every time, for each new or small batch of specific specialized tobaccos, they had to go through this complete process, which is also containing this track and trace. That's why you have recently, you don't have too many pipe tobacco makers, yeah? And it's the same with snuff tobacco too. We will see how the smaller snuff makers will react. Rosinski or the Pfälzer Landsnuff snuff, right? They have to go through the same process. And then there is other little news, for example, that Philip Morris decided they will not put cigarettes onto at least parts of the European market anymore, so they will most probably sell some of their brands or just discontinue them, but instead what they did is they bought Swedish Match. You know, Swedish Match, a snooze maker in Sweden, because they are looking for alternatives. They know exactly that tobacco has no future. And there are countries which are the so-called gold-plated countries, which are stricter than the EU regulations. Because the EU regulations, they are more or less like recommendations that countries should follow. And there are certain countries which put a stamp on it and say we will be even stricter. Right now, here in Germany, I'm always complaining, but actually we have a quite liberal tobacco market. Which means that actually it's not a big deal to buy a package of cigarettes. We don't talk about prices, because if we compare the pricing, then Germany is not an extremely overpriced country for cigarettes. I mean, compare it with Australia or the UK. That's the difference, right? And many people who have been smoking tobacco, they are switching over to these alternative products. And now with this new tobacco directives, number 2 and number 3, many things will change. Aromas will also fall under this directive and so on. So there will be a few news in the next months, especially around mid 2024, where you will probably see some brands disappearing from the market. And so that's why I say I'm not paid by any of them, but I think Pöschl will continue operation, that's quite sure. I'm not sure if they are willing to invest into a smaller brand like Bernard's. I mean, Bernard's was not very clever. In the last years, I mean, I'm living in Germany. I am in Germany. I'm not in the north of Germany. It would have not been possible to buy any Bernard's snuff tobacco in a tobacconist or whatever kind of shop. Pöschl you can get at the gas station. You get Ozonas, they did JVR there, and also some Pöschl snuffs, the best sellers, of course. So Bernard's didn't care, in my opinion. If you check their website, I mean, it hasn't been updated for ages. And then little things like, for example, calling something a Schmalzler Blau-Weiß and actually selling a highly mentholated snuff packed in this is not very clever. And there are many little things that, in my opinion, lead in combination to the downfall of this company, which would have had the chance to actually save the brand. And in 2008 they already went bankrupt the first time. This should have been the alarm bell that rings. They didn't care, especially nowadays. I mean, with very little financial possibilities, you can already boost your marketing, don't you think? Imagine somebody would give you $50,000 and say, make me social media channels, videos, a little bit of a kind of advertisement. Just push your product a little bit more into the face of the snuff users. Make it available, you know. How can it be that me as a German, I have to use online shopping to find certain snuffs from a certain brand? That's impossible, right? So it will be a 10-minute video, it looks like. Anyway, that's maybe one of the reasons, track and trace, which is the downfall and will be the downfall of smaller snuff manufacturers. We will see. And I hope they find a way out. You know, last time I got this message like, yeah, how is TOC doing it? Well, TOC is very clever. Yeah. There is a way around it, but it's not feasible for everyone to basically choose a location in which you produce and market your things and ship them. And we will see what in May 2024 will be. So if you haven't already piled up and if you still have a little bit of money left, then my recommendation is go for the smaller manufacturers. If you have some snuff that you liked, and get the last tap boxes and tins, because soon it will be over, I'm pretty sure. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.